I had absolutely no role in the parking lot. I think I'll keep my opinion to myself. I haven't been to the library in about 2 weeks. Do you have another question?
Only after you answer this one.
Okay. Well, libraries are a wonderful thing. I fully support more libraries, better libraries. They're a place where people of all ages can go and get resources that they don't have at home. I think libraries are a great asset to any community. Of course, it's great to be able to get to them. Sidewalks help. If you're not going to use a sidewalk, I think you're going to anyway because you need a sidewalk to get from the parking lot. So with that, I only have a minute, but I will yield.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jordan. Mr. Quateri.
No, the decision for the parking lot is under the jurisdiction of the separately elected library board. I like libraries too. My kids go to the libraries all the time. And I had nothing to do with building the sidewalk, and for the life of me, nothing to do with building the parking lot, and I honestly don't understand why we needed a parking lot 4 times the size. However, I did go there to drop off some books the other night, and it was packed, so maybe they did need it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quateri. Mr. Flanagan.
I'm also not going to comment too much on it. I've been to the library, and like Mr. Quateri just said, every time I've been there, I think they did need that parking lot. Libraries are great, functional, and that's all I'm going to say on the libraries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Flanagan. Mr. DiMaggio.
I got to be careful how I answer this. My wife's a librarian. We've used the library a lot. I am not familiar with all the details of the decision-making that went into that. Some years ago, there was a proposal to build out a brand-new library, a big expansion, and it's one of the things that some of you in the community, as well as my wife, worked very hard to force a rethinking of that, and whether, in fact, the town should take on indebtedness to do that. And I think that the right decision was made. If, in fact, by the use of the library, by the improvements they made as a result of that decision, they need it, that's fine. I use the library. I think many of you use the library. Beyond that, so not to give myself any more trouble at home, I'm done.
Thank you very much, Mr. DiMaggio. This next question will start with you, Mr. Quateri. Regarding the quote-unquote hamlet proposed for Ellesmere Ave, Fairbanks Road, besides concerns regarding compacting so many rental units in an upscale development like Walden Fields, the question asker would like to know why small businesses are being zoned there, especially at a time of economic depression.
What was the first part of the question?
Regarding the quote-unquote hamlet proposed for Ellesmere Ave, Fordbush Road, besides the concerns regarding compacting so many rental units in an upscale development like Walden Fields, we would like to know why quote-unquote small businesses are being zoned there.
As I understand, that project is before the planning board at the moment. There are many considerations, and I have full faith in the planning board that they will stick to the goals of the comprehensive plan, our new zoning laws, as well as the spirit of our comprehensive plan, and ensuring that we have the right type of development. Whether we're talking about the proposed development along Fordbush and Ellesmere, or any other development throughout town. You know, one of the things that we've tried to do through the comprehensive plan and planning and the planning board is to diversify housing, to find affordable housing. Let's take that issue for a quick second. How does that relate here? Because you mentioned apartments and smaller housing. We hear from more and more people at both ends of the spectrum, seniors who need to downsize from those 4-bedroom colonials, and they're empty nesters, and they're looking to stay in town, or at least for a majority of the year, and can't find affordable housing. I think those types of options on the housing side are great. In addition to it, I've also heard from a lot of young families, a lot of young couples moving back into town who want to stay here, but they're not ready to be able to afford the larger homes. In terms of the development aspect, I think it's important to have a balance between, we've talked a lot about commercial versus residential development. On the residential side, in 2005, there were 19 plans in the hopper, and I believe that 2, maybe now we're up to 3 or 4 have gone through. It's slowed down considerably and intentionally. In terms of looking at businesses and where we can place both large and small businesses, it's where it's appropriate, where it works for the community, and where it works for residents around. So, you know, my advice to whoever wrote the question, for those who are concerned, is to keep talking to Town Hall, keep talking to the planning board, keep coming to the meetings, and let your voice be heard in determining the outcome, because that's the process we've created, and we'll stick to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quinteri. Mr. Flanagan.
Thank you. On the proposed development, I have to agree. We have to stick with the comprehensive plan, and we have to work with. I am knocking on doors. The residents are upset about this. They don't want it to come. We need to bring them in. We need to talk to them. What can we do? What do they need? What can we give them? We have to work on it. You know, Bethlehem, a lot of farmland, and you've seen a lot of houses go up, and I bet you 70 years ago, you can say, they'll never build here. Well, they have. And we will still grow. We need to grow. But we need to grow together. We have to make the neighbors happy, we have to be happy, and we have to be careful of the businesses that we do bring in, the residential versus the business end of it. You know, it's tricky. You have the landowners, the farm owners. They may need to sell their land to survive in this economy. Who am I to say you can't? Who's government to say they can't sell that land? However, that's why we have to have the perimeters, the comprehensive plan, the site development, so we can work together, not only with the developer, who that may be, the proposed, but with the residents. You know, the old, not my backyard, it's put in somebody else's. I'm not that guy either. But we have to understand Bethlehem needs to grow, but where do we need to grow? And how do we get there? And that's what I would look at. I am not on the planning board, the zoning board. I'm sure there's a lot more I'm missing, but I think there are steps that we can go together as a community, as Bethlehem, and not be that, not my backyard guy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Flanagan. Mr. DiMaggio.
I've met with several of the owners of Walden Field, Sally Brook, and others. We've talked about this. We've exchanged emails this week. I know there's real concern. This was meant to be the leading example, the first example of the Hamlet plan to effectively create these. There was a proposal also not far from Tollgate to do the same thing. And I understand that's part of the master plan, and when you develop the plan, you obviously want to have some sense of what should go there. Because it's permitted doesn't mean that's the best use. In our discussions, we talked about the fact that this project is now before the planning board. I encourage that Sally and the other residents look at this. They have, you know, very nice housing facility. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that you might be concerned, as I might be concerned, if in fact there were housing across the street which was unattractive or in any way depreciated the value of their property. My advice to them was to work with the board, work with Lee Rosen, the owner of the parcel, and really develop it and see whether in fact that's the best use of that property.
Thank you very much, Mr. DiMaggio. Mr. Jordan.
Thank you. The town's comprehensive plan was adopted in 2005. It is not a document unto itself. It has some life. It is a living document, and by its own terms, it is to be reevaluated within 5 to 10 years, which means next year, the town, and this really highlights the importance of having a planning board, is that the town has before it now an opportunity to reevaluate the comprehensive plan. And it's very important that, as this administration has done in so many areas, has created citizens advisory committees, it's very important for citizens to come up and to speak to us, speak to the planning board, and let your voices known. Just because it's in the comprehensive plan now does not mean that it necessarily has to be in the future. And maybe the downturn in the economy has a silver lining, in that it's given us an opportunity to step back from some development, gives us an